To the September National Online Chapter Meeting of the Building Designers Association of Australia. My name's Jennifer Binns and I'm joining you from Tasmania with Sarah Jane managing the technology for us. Thanks for joining us. It's good to see you posting comments in the chat box to let us know where you're logging in from, and we've got people coming from all over, so welcome everyone. We've got two speakers today, Tachita Shaw from Clear Edge Glass and Faisal Moman from BricsCAD. But before we get started, it's with a very heavy heart that I share some sad news with the BDAA community. We recently learned of the passing of a deeply valued long-term member of our association, Lara Begg. Lara was not only a dedicated member, but also served as a chapter chair and was a delegate for Greater Western Sydney. Her commitment, leadership and enthusiasm have left an indelible mark on us all. And during this difficult time, our thoughts and deepest sympathies are with Lara's family and friends. She was an integral part of our community, and her absence will be keenly felt by us all. And as we remember and honour her contributions, let us also offer our collective support to those who were closest to her. So thank you for taking this moment to reflect on Lara's life and legacy, and may she rest in peace. So a few notes about upcoming BDAA activities. For those of you who are new to the BDAA, we hold this meeting on the first Tuesday of every month at 1 p.m. Our aim is to provide a platform for members to share ideas, learn from each other and industry experts. So first Tuesday of every month, log in and there's plenty for sharing. The National Festival of Design being held in New South Wales from October 18th to the 21st is coming up very soon. This year's conference is about three key topics: AI, build and design. And EOB from Icon Events is pulling together an amazing lineup of speakers with the likes of brand futurist Tony Eads, New South Wales Building Commissioner David Chandler and more. Sarah Jane will post a link in the chat box if you'd like some more information. And if you're on the hunt for your next big career opportunity or have a job vacancy that you need to fill, look no further than the BDAA Connected Community Portal. Our job board is specifically designed to connect talent with opportunity within our unique community. The BDAA chapters, thanks to Chapter Liaison Kylie Mitchell, are in full swing. We have lots of face-to-face events happening across Australia in the coming weeks. These events provide a fantastic opportunity to connect with fellow designers, so please bring along a friend or a colleague to introduce them to the association. You can check the BDAA website, the BDAA community and the BDAA social media for event dates and times and for continuous updates. Sarah Jane will also put a link in the chat for you to register for the upcoming events. So moving on to our presentations, remember you can ask questions anytime using the Q&A box. Questions in the chat box can sometimes get missed, so post questions in the Q&A box, and any other comments you can use the chat box. So our first speaker is Tachita Shaw from Clear Edge Glass, and Tachita owns and manages Clear Edge Glass together with her husband Archie Shaw with a manufacturing factory in Melbourne. With over 20 years of experience in the glass industry and a passion for frameless products, she brings a unique perspective to the market. After honing their skills in Europe, they moved to Australia in 2010 to start Clear Edge Glass, and their stackable glass panels and windows are designed to be completely customisable and flexible to enhance the feel of any home or multi-use space. Their projects range from multi-million-dollar homes to commercial restaurants, and they've even partnered with companies like Space Cube for high-profile events like the Australian Open and Formula One Grand Prix. At Clear Edge Glass, their goal is to help clients transform their space into something they love and cherish. They believe in creating spaces that bring joy and pride to those who live and use them. Welcome, Tachita. Have we got you online?
I think you do. Can you see me there, everyone?
I can. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me, Jennifer. It's really exciting for me to have been invited into your chapter meeting. I'm not going to deny I am slightly nervous, so just all bear with me. Absolutely. As I run you through this. And my deepest condolences to you and the BDAA community with that sad news. I'm just going to share my screen if that's okay.
Yep, that's great.
Are you able to see that?
Yes. We're all perfect. Good to go. I'll hand over to you.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Jennifer. Hi everyone. As Jennifer so kindly introduced me, I'm Tasita, and together with my husband Archie Shaw, we run ClearEdge Glass Systems. In fact, Archie is the product's, it's his brainchild and his creation. So we are a Melbourne-based manufacturer of this very exciting new product. It's a frameless operable glass wall and window system with the aim in helping designers such as yourselves to create flexible multi-use areas for your clients. With the cost of building construction and house prices rising, we believe that every space in a building should be used to its maximum potential, and a dead space should become something of the past. Our passion is to use the amazing and beautiful versatility of glass to allow people to create spaces that are both functional and aesthetically pleasing in design. So who is ClearEdge Glass? Well, as I said, we're a Melbourne-based manufacturer. We distribute Australia-wide. We're 100% Australia-made, and we source all our raw materials locally. We have created a product that exceeds the stringent building standards relating to wind load and glass on the facade of a building. We manufacture and distribute to a growing list of agents in Australia. Please don't despair if you don't see your area on this list. We are continually adding as a young company and growing new agents in our geographical reach. So what is the ClearEdge frameless system? It's a frameless glass movable system suitable for both residential and commercial applications. It's made up of individual frameless panels. Each panel operates independently of the other. The first panel swings open. This will be on the extreme left or right of the system, and this panel can be used as a standard access door if needed. Then the next panel slides along, remaining in the track until it reaches the exit point. It then pivots out and stacks 90 degrees to the track. Each panel follows on. This here is a video you can see of how a 2.8 meter high system is being closed. Each panel would weigh about 80 kilograms, and our aim is to ensure that they glide with ease and are easy to use. This system that you can actually see here is an 11-meter wall-to-wall. It opened the back of an old St Kilda home and just added a modern and light feel to it. The ClearEdge system is designed with the highest consideration for both strength in wind loading and weather resistance. Number one is our weather seal. It's made from a UV stable clear polymer, cleverly designed with an H in an H shape with a soft inner lip. This holds to one panel while receiving the other in a tight seal. We then have number two, which is interlocking end caps. Each panel has a female and male end cap which interlock. This gives it integral strength to the system when it's under wind load pressure. The glass is mechanically fitted. And number four, you can see our double rollers. Each panel is hung by two of these double rollers with sealed bearings. It's worth me pointing out at this stage that our system has been NATA tested and accredited, and we've achieved ratings which allow us to be installed in cyclonic wind areas. I'll expand on this a little bit later in the talk. So what product options do we have? Well, firstly, we have our standard system. The application for this is residential outdoor enclosures, weather barriers, and in low wind load areas. It utilizes 10 mil toughened safety glass with a number of options within that range. The maximum height it can go is 2.6 meters high. The maximum width of a system is unlimited. You just keep adding glass panels, and each glass panel can be a maximum of 850 millimeters a panel. The next system is our premium system. Can be used as external and internal walls and doors, also as weather barriers on multi-story buildings, in commercial internal and external applications, and in high wind load areas. It utilises 12 mil toughened safety glass, again with a range of options within that. The maximum height it can go to is 3 meters high. Again, the width is unlimited, and a panel width is about 850 mil. And then finally, our ultimate system. Our ultimate system is used in cyclonic wind areas, on high-rise buildings, and in commercial internal and external applications. This uses a very thick 15 mil toughened safety glass. The height of this can actually go to 3.2 meters with unlimited width and about 800 mil wide per panel. So on to the next exciting part. What projects can you specify clear edge framers into? There are a few categories. The first is our outdoor enclosure systems. This is where we enclose balconies and we create a weather barrier. Transforming an unused balcony into a usable haven is really important. As I mentioned, this is where our passion lies. We believe that every area in a building should be used to its maximum. And as I said, a dead space should become something of the past. This is an example of our system in high speed being opened and closed, allowing for use on beautiful days, but also being a climate controlled area. The next area is an alfresco enclosures. This just creates flexible living spaces, giving homeowners the ability to use their space all year round. This is a curved system we did. The system can go in a number of configurations. Then the next is cafe and restaurants. This really gives the operator the ability to keep bums in seats, essentially. And no matter what the weather, in all weather conditions, they can keep patrons at tables, which is really important. It also has the ability to keep the ambiance and an open feel, which is really key to restaurant owners. And then the next way our product is used is in wall and door systems. It can be used as an internal room divider. This is a growing trend. We're actually seeing our product being used as a movable internal wall in boardrooms and offices to create multi-use spaces. Then we can be used as external door systems in residential applications. However, with the 7-star ratings that are coming through in the industry, this has been phased out in new builds. However, I think it is worth mentioning that it is still very popular within the renovation market, as it allows fast modernization of homes, but also allows uninterrupted views and bringing that openness and light into a home. This is an example of a 90-degree internal courtyard we did in Sydney. The panels can pass over that 90-degree corner, stacking extreme left and right in this case. And then the final way our product can be used is for operable window systems in canteens and restaurants. This is a job we did for a school up in Townsville. We helped the designer take a 7.5 meter expanse and turn it into a multifunctional area. Kitchen servery windows in residential areas in the residential market is still very popular. It creates flexible spaces, and it can also be used directly in front of tapware, and can go into all sorts of different architecture. The feedback we're getting is that it's the ability to open up one panel and just use it to pass items through without the need to open up the whole system is quite popular with our residential market. And then we've got unique applications, which is a little bit exciting for us as a business. We've been in the Channel 10 box at Flemington, Melbourne Cup. We've been at the Grand Prix in the F1 Ferrari box. And then unique places where a designer put us in a TV box where the cameras are recording races and to protect the camera crew. It's important to note that the window system is designed to be like an IKEA flat pack. So we manufacture this and we can ship it anywhere in Australia, and it's actually designed that the builder or tradie can install it. So if you weren't in an area where we actually have active agents, you can still specify the operable window system and the builder and tradie can install that. Then all our systems are made to measure, they're bespoke made. As mentioned, they have unlimited widths, and then obviously there's a number of options you can choose around the product, like the frame color. It is compatible with fly screens, which is a common question we get asked. Then we are compliant, fully compliant with all the regulations. I think one of an important topic I just want to touch on is non-compliant products being used within the building industry, and it's become a growing concern, especially in the glazing industry. Just last week, I attended a national conference with AGWA, which is the Australian Glass and Window Association governing body, where we addressed this very serious issue. One way, if I can share, that a specifier can protect themselves is ensuring that the product's manufacturer or supplier are actually members of governing bodies such as AGWA, because this gives you protection. Being a part of AGWA means that we're held accountable to them, and we are committed to meeting the ever-changing Australian standards. I think when we talk about non-compliance for us, the most critical aspect is the wind loading. The result of a non-compliant product can be catastrophic. If you just picture sheer glass panels weighing in excess of 80 kilograms, failing in strong winds, the outcome can be disastrous. The building industry in Australia operates under very strict regulations regarding wind loading. Each building must comply and adhere to specific wind loadings and use products and materials accordingly. This is a very in-depth topic that warrants its own discussion. However, I just would like to emphasize that at Clear Edge Glass, we possess extensive expertise in this area, and we're well prepared to assist you at any stage to guarantee accuracy in specification. At Clear Edge Glass Systems, we believe that every space has the potential to be something special, and we love working with our clients to bring their vision to light. And that brings me to the end of my talk.
Thank you very much, Tasita. That was a great presentation, and there are quite a few questions. Would you like me to read through them?
Yes.
And anything that we need to, we can get back to people on if we don't have all the information they need. Some of it you might have covered in your presentation, but Julie has asked how your system stacks up with the new requirement for whole house passive design concepts.
Yes, so that's where I talked about the 7-star rating, and that's why we're pushing our product to be an external barrier in previously open areas. So your alfrescos, your balconies, that's creating an extra layer of insulation and allowing people to climate control outdoor areas. But yes, because we're single glazed, we are being phased out as an external wall system in residential applications.
Yes, okay. So one of the other questions that I've seen come through is, are there any plans for a double glazed product?
Look, yes, we're always pushing the limit. The problem with double glazing is it's got that black, that black rubber seal on the outside, which really takes away the concept of being frameless. We are talking about offering a semi-frameless product that would then offer a double glazed system, but you would have to have a frame around it to not compromise the double glazing.
Yeah, sure. So Richard has said, the energy assessor in me, can you please provide the U values and the solar heat gain coefficient, which I saw come up on one of your slides.
It did.
Was it 4.1? I'm trying to remember. You've probably got it in front of you, maybe.
I can't remember off heart, because what we do is it depends what glass you use. If you use standard clear, the ratings change. If you use a low E, your rating would change. You can use a tinted glass. Yep. So what guides our energy rating is the actual glass that the client chooses to use. So as you choose to use that glass, we'll let you know what that rating achieves, and also the thickness changes the rating.
Richard's also asked, how narrow can a panel be to achieve curvature?
I'm not sure I understand his question.
I think it's more so if you've got an 850 width panel, how narrow can you go with those panels if you wanted to have a lot of panels running around in a curve?
Yeah, so the panels aren't set. The panels, the maximum it can be is 800 in a ultimate and 850 in the premium and standard. But what happens is we work with the curvature of the building, and we work out the optimum width of each panel. So we would have some systems that panels would be about 780. Some panels, every system is different in its panel width. If I can just hit on the topic of the curvature, that is worked as a segmented system. And the glass can actually run over those segments. But again, that's worked in-house with Archie, is our main technical guy, and he makes sure that that's all, that the curvature is correct, and that system can run across those.
Okay, thank you. Rayton has said, wonderful, it's a great system to avoid steel beams. And Nick has asked, will the plastic vertical strips discolor?
So I'm glad he asked that question. There is only one company in the world, in the United States, that actually makes the raw material for that product, which we have to then import and then extrude our weather strips. We give them about a 4-year lifespan. They are easy to pull off and pull on. They are a replaceable part. But what we find is they don't go yellow. What they do is they eventually will go a milky white. But a simple replacement of those freshens up the whole system. I think in the 10 years we've been running, we've probably now are starting to replace the systems that get direct sun that are hitting about the 9-year mark.
Okay. Sam has said, wow, it looks great. How is the price compared to standard windows?
Thank you. Yeah, frameless glass is always going to be more expensive. There's nothing to hide. So all the working componentry has to be in that top track. It has to be able to be square and level. So it is an expensive product. But what we have found in COVID, the gap has closed. So you're probably looking at anything from it depends again if you use the 15, the 12, or the 10 mil. So what product you use. But you're looking anything from about a 15 to about a 30% increase.
Okay. And that's similar to another question. Where does the product sit with the price point as compared to standard manufacturers like Trend, Hanlon, etc.?
Yeah, again, and it's hard to say because there's doors and then there's doors. We would compete probably level on with a good quality bifold door. It just depends what you're competing us with, but we are an upmarket product. We are going into custom builds and upmarket building.
Shane has asked how much force is needed to press the seal into place on a, say, 2.4 metre high system versus a 1.2 metre high system.
So just read that question again.
Shane is wanting to know how much force is needed to press the seal into place, which I'm assuming is when you're closing the doors on a 2.4 metre high system as opposed to a 1.2 metre high system.
Oh, well, the great thing is that our system's not pressed into place. Literally, as you move the one panel into the other, it just receives the capital H strip, just receives the next panel into it. So it really isn't a case of pressure. It doesn't work on pressure. The male female end caps just automatically clip together, and then the weather seal is a capital H, which just receives one panel. So really, there's no difference whether you were using a 1200 high system or a 3.2 meter high system. Okay. There's no difference.
There's a question about the max bell rating, which I noticed was also on one of your slides.
Yeah, so door and window differ. The wording is very different when you look at the two. So we are bell 29 with door, and we are bell 12 with window.
Okay. Ian has asked, are structural details available?
Yeah, so we do have, I'm more than happy to get, we've got PDFs available with all details on specifying and what structural detail, okay. Yeah, what structure.
And I've noticed that Sarah Jane has posted your contact details in the chat box. So if anyone wants to get in contact with you directly, your details are there. Right. There was one more question from Max. There does not appear to be a subsill. How does the bottom rail stop water from entering?
So our bottom track can be installed into a subsill, which we do if there's direct rain going to be hitting it. Keeping in mind that it's predominantly used as a outdoor weather barrier. So what we would tend to do is just have drainage holes within our track, and the drainage holes then go out off a balcony. Essentially, the track fills up and it just goes to where the water is already going. But we do work really closely with builders when they need subsills installed, because we can have a fully recessed track. And then we'll work with the designer or the builder to make sure that's alleviated.
Okay. Darren has asked, what are the lead times for residential builds approximately?
So from when we get the measurements and the measurements are confirmed, it's 8 to 10 weeks.
Okay. John has said, how does each panel go from being a hinged panel to a sliding panel?
So they never
panel that's hinged.
Yeah, so they never hinged. They never hinged. Each panel has what we call a non-exit roller, which is a pivot roller, and an exit roller. And so what happens is when the first panel just swings open, the second panel, the rollers slide along, the non-exit panel stays in and pivots, and the exit roller exits the track. Okay. Our website is a great, if you jump onto our website, we really do put a lot of detail in there, and there are videos and more detailed photos kind of showing that.
Okay. George has asked, if it's bell 29 door, is the thickness 10 mil, 12 mil or 15 mil compared to a window?
I think bell 29 is reached, and I will stand to correction, but with any 10, 12 or 15 mil thickness, because bell 29 has to be, the top of my head, 6 mil thick glass.
Yes, I think so.
So I think 5 or 6 mil. So your 10, 12 or 15 or any of our product range meets the bell 29 for a door.
Okay. And Max has just asked another question and said, what about wind? This was in relation to the subsill that he was asking about. Now, you were talking about you had a couple of different products depending on the wind application.
Yeah, so that's the most important. So our product's been to testing, as I said, so it's in a wind tunnel. It's, again, if you hop on our website, you can actually view the testing video. And that they put a 3.3 kPa wind loading, which is equivalent, please don't quote me on this, in my brain, a 280 kilometer an hour winds, both negative and positive. But then what we did is we took the rollers to the next step, because the big thing you don't want is the glass being stronger than the hardware. And toughened glass is incredibly strong, and it flexes, and it will flex and flex until the point of it breaking. So what we want to ensure is that the rollers can outlast the strength of the glass, especially when you're talking 15 mil glass. So we did a test with the NATA accredited facility to make sure that our rollers can withstand, and we got it to 5,000 Pascal of pressure on a panel. So wind loading, we sleep well at night.
Okay.
We have yeah, which is a good thing.
I think that's taken us to the end of all our questions. Thank you. It was a lot of really useful information, and there's some really positive feedback about the product. So thank you for sharing that with us. And yes, we've got your details. So if there's more questions and people want to have a look at your website, please go and check that out. So thank you very much, Tasita, for joining us. That was wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
No, pleasure. Well, yes, we'll see more of you, hopefully. So we're going to move on to our second speaker for the day, who is Faisal Moman, the Business Development Manager for CAD Apps Australia, the leading reseller of BricsCAD. Faisal will be introducing BricsCAD as a cost-effective CAD alternative. And joining him is Sean Twomey, the Senior Technical Consultant for BricsCAD, and Sean is going to demonstrate BricsCAD and its functionality. So while we're just waiting, we got you online, Faisal? And Sean, I can see you both coming online now.
Oh.
Hello.
Hi, Jennifer. Can you hear me?
Yes, welcome.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity. And my deepest condolences for the passing of Lara. And thank you so much again. I don't know if you can see my screen, or should I share it again?
If you share your screen.
Yeah, let me see if hopefully that works. What about my audio? Because I had a problem with it last time I met with Sarah.
No, we can hear you fine and we can see your screen. So you're ready to roll.
All right.
All right, I'll hand over to you.
All right, thank you. All right, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Faisal Moman. I'm the Business Development Manager at CAD Apps Australia. We are the BricsCAD reseller. Joining me is Sean Toomey, the Senior Technical Consultant at Brixis, and he will be walking us through BricsCAD demo. So I know your time is valuable, so let's get started. So firstly, who is Brixis? Brixis provide a range of modern mainstream mechanical CAD, BIM, and collaboration products, which they offer under the brand of BricsCAD and Brixis 24/7. The organizations who uses the products are spread throughout the world and operates in many different industry sectors, primarily in building design, construction, manufacturing markets, and also civil and surveying. Our approach is based on four guiding principles. We are customer focused and are known for our high level of support and approachability. We are also innovative, striving continuously provide advanced productivity tools, which are often driven by the latest technologies such as artificial intelligence. Our products are cost effective, being less expensive to adopt in many products compared to many products that are available on the market, and also offering multiple licensing options. BricsCAD in Australia is backed by CAD Apps. We are the official premium reseller since 2014. We are specializing in civil and survey BricsCAD solutions. And we have technical staff available who can provide technical support to BricsCAD users. We are the software developer of civil site design and Stringer survey. So we're just not reseller, we're also the software developers. So what is BricsCAD? BricsCAD, it is a fast and powerful design and drafting software. BricsCAD is cost-effective alternative for businesses that need to create, view, edit, design, and to produce accurate production documentation. BricsCAD's sole mission is to help our customer solve the design problem faster. The variety of capability that we are going to talk about is really the key point that make BricsCAD stand out. The lower cost of ownership, flexible licensing, the fact that BricsCAD is native DWG solution, which is the industry standard data format, became available to clients who are using BricsCAD. Familiar user interface. So with BricsCAD, you're getting the best of both worlds. Basically, you're getting all these additional capabilities that you need wrapped up in familiar user interface and data format, so that you can get started immediately once you selected BricsCAD. The licensing advantage of BricsCAD, that you choose the licensing model that's right for your business. Whether it's perpetual license, you own the software for life, the lowest cost over time, which the majority of Australian businesses are choosing the perpetual license. BricsCAD also provide network licenses, which allows you to share an outstanding model, which your user can use either it's their expert or their casual user. And also BricsCAD has the subscription options as well, 1 year and 3 years options. On the topic of lower ownership cost, BricsCAD is considerably more affordable than many other products in the market. It's priced competitively, but also flexibility of its licensing option can reduce the cost dramatically. For example, if you purchase, let's give it an example of BricsCAD Pro, which is the 3D modeling software. So if you purchase BricsCAD Pro with a perpetual license, you'll see that over 3 years, due to the low maintenance cost, the cost of ownership is really attractive. But even using BricsCAD Pro as a subscription, also overall cost keeps it to a minimum. When we can compare this to the cost of AutoCAD, we can really see how affordable BricsCAD Pro is. AutoCAD is only available on a subscription basis, and we can clearly see that whatever license type you select, BricsCAD is far more cost effective. Even after just 3 years, the BricsCAD total amount spent so far on AutoCAD is nearly 3 times as much as on BricsCAD Pro. And the fact is, BricsCAD product are available in shareable network licenses, make the cost even more attractive. So just by switching, you can see the prices just by switching to BricsCAD, you can save up to 69% of your CAD cost. Just to talk about a bit of numbers, obviously the prices are very important that we can see. So BricsCAD Lite is one of our 2D drafting tool, which comes in subscription, perpetual, and also in network. The subscription price start 545, and also the perpetual standalone with 12-month maintenance comes in $1,134. The BricsCAD Pro, which is the 3D modeling software, subscription, 1 year subscription is at a very low price of $930. And if you choose to purchase the perpetual license, the standalone perpetual license with 12-month maintenance, come with $2,088, which is far more cheaper than the AutoCAD prices. I think so. Hopefully, you've seen how BricsCAD Pro can provide a very different, unique approach to 2D and 3D design, whilst maintaining the familiarity and compatibility to a legacy DWG-based CAD product. And to find out more, you can visit our website or scan the QR code. You can directly go to the landing page of, you can download the software, and it can offer a 30-day free trial. I'll now hand it over to Sean to show you some of the interfaces and functionality of BricsCAD. Sean, can you hear me?
Yes, thanks, mate. Let me just share my screen. Okay, now comes the question. Have I shared the correct screen?
Let me.
We can't see anything yet, Sean.
Aha.
There we go. Yes, we can see your screen. It's a 3D
building.
Yep.
Cool.
With arch windows.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, thanks, guys. Normally, I like to show point clouds. We got some very impressive features for scan to plan and scan to BIM. We won't get time for these today. I want just to mention that we have them. So if anybody's got interest in these areas, please give us know. We got a bunch of webinars and recordings and everything else. We will touch briefly on doing a bit of 3D work. And more importantly, we'll show how we generate that from a 2D floor plan. But before we go to any of those, let's just do some of the basics, because much and all as we like to live in this BIM world, a huge amount of the work that gets done is still done based off 2D plans. So as far as I mentioned, we work with the standard DWG format. So a lot of what we do is taking people's existing customizations into the BricsCAD interface. And the reason for this is that when people start with the software, usually it just works for them. You type in the line command, you can draw your lines, everything works as you'd expect. So the question they ask is, okay, can I bring in my existing plotter configurations? So we won't go into this now, but taking in the PC3 files and the pen assignments for color-based plotting, etc., we're very, very fluent with those. We've got a full presentation on this where we talk about bringing in the ribbon files, tool palettes, the Lisps, sheet sets, etc., etc. That gets a bit more detailed than today's presentation, but I want to just briefly mention the fact that we're happy to get there if you want to. In terms of how the software works, especially for people who are not fluent and familiar with CAD, one thing you'll find is that when you hover over an entity, you get a thing called the quad, which prompts you with a whole bunch of intuitive type things that you need. Now, this I always compare to PowerPoint, because in here, for example, if you want to go and change the color of this text, you do it via this floating menu. The same thing happens with the quad. If I want to change the color of this text from cyan to red, when you hover over it, you get the option to do it here. Now, because that's not in the other CAD packages, people often disable it. So down here in the bottom, you can, of course, turn that off. And now when you hover it, you don't see it. You go to the properties menu and you change it from here instead. So it's the exact same process, but we tend to encourage folks to at least use the over tooltips, but also the quad as well. So this is some of the less spectacular features in the software, but we call these quality of life type features because these are the basic functions that keep you going throughout the day when you have to repeat them several thousand times. So some of the other features that are very, very useful in that sense are some of the copy guided and blockify features. So in this case, this is obviously a building floor plan. These walls are comprised of a hatch pattern and a series of lines. So they're not intelligent objects, and this door is just a block, this door opening. So what I can do is type a command called copy guided, which is one of our most popular commands. So if I type in copy guided here, when I select that door, you will see that the door becomes yellow and the surrounding walls become blue. That's telling us that it's going to copy the yellow entity and use the blue entities, i.e. the walls, as references. So that's quite nice. It also means that when I move to a different orientation, it will also copy them down here. So without having a fancy object-based model, working off basic 2D line work, you can get quite creative with this. So we've got another example here, which is a bit more challenging. So you can see in here, it's got more elements to both the walls and the windows. So the exact same command, copy guided, just same process. When you select these, you can move them around, and as you go to different orientations, you will see that the exact same process occurs. You'll also notice here that as I'm doing this, it's showing me the dimensions here. So what I could do is say type in 420, to make it exactly 420 of this entity here. That process works in general where if I was to draw any type of an entity here, if I pick this first and then select my rectangle here, I get the option to type in the dimension here. So it gives you parametric inputs without the complications of parametrics. So that's one of our key features, is that copy guided feature. And we find that once people get used to that, they don't want to live without it. One of the other features that people like to use a lot is our blockify command. So in this case, this geometry has either been drafted or imported from PDF, or somehow all of these chairs are drawn as individual segments, which is a very, very inefficient way of operating. So what we want to do is convert this to a block, have it find all other instances of this within that drawing, and make blocks from those as well. So to achieve that, we type in the command blockify. Incidentally, I'm typing in the commands because I am from that vintage. These also exist up here on the ribbon. So I don't know where they are because I never use it. I always just type them in, but of course you can use the ribbon as well if you prefer. So on the blockify option, you can see here I get a few options on the panel on the right hand side. So I'm going to search the entire drawing. I will use a default block name. I will pick my own insertion point. Actually, I'll pick my own block name as well. And if this was done, if this was imported from a PDF file where the geometry wasn't 100% accurate, you can give a tolerance factor here so it's got a little bit of leeway. In my case, I will grab one of these chair definitions and press enter. So it's searching for the entire drawing. There's quite a few here, so it has to work for a while. And then it's telling me that, okay, I've got the automatic block name and automatic insertion point. So what it's now done is inserted that for each of these definitions. What that means is that if I was to go in here and open that one, and let's just do something really, really simple here. Let's put a hatch pattern in this. I'll make it, say, solid. And select a point in here. And I'll make that red so it really stands out. When I now save this, you can see that all these blocks have been updated together. So oh, I think I skipped a step there, so let me just go over that quickly again for these. In this case, these syncs have also not been done correctly. So if I type in the command again, blockify, I will again select these entities here. And if I select compare, okay. There we go. When I press enter, okay, once again, you can see here that it's giving me the option to tick on and tick off which ones I want to use. So if I wanted to, I could untick this one or tick it on and off. So you get interactive options. You click on which entities to use and also which insertion points. So one other thing to point, excuse me, one other thing to point out very, very quickly on that copy guided command. We did it earlier by clicking on an entity and referring to some very, very obvious straight line elements that were next to it. If I was to copy this armchair, using my copy guided command, so same process, I'll copy it here. When I move to a curved area, it will go and work and just rationalize the tangency of that area for me as well. Also, if my walls were of varying thicknesses, what I could do here is when I run the command, I could copy it, but just click on the front ply of the wall as opposed to the entire wall. So you can get very, very careful and clever in terms of how you go about this. And we got full web sessions on scenarios on this, and we can even use parametric blocks and have more intricate examples happen. But the point I want to emphasize here is that when you open BricsCAD for the very first time, as long as you're aware of these commands, copy guided and blockify, they tend to work straight away. You just access them and work through those. So I'm obviously assuming that everyone is happy with the fact that we've got the standard lines and circles and dimensions and all these usual fundamentals that you would expect to see. So very happy to go over any of these in more detail. Get in touch with Faisal, and his guys are very happy to go through it as well as myself. Just while we got a few more minutes left, very quickly, I want to just touch on the 3D side. So because BricsCAD is a newer package and it doesn't have a legacy of very, very old code slowing it down, when you go to a 3D environment, so let me just switch here from drafting into a BIM environment. As you start working with solid shapes and just general areas, it tends to be extremely quick, a lot quicker than people expect it to be, which is why point clouds tend to work so well. So if I draw a standard kind of box here, if I hover over one of the faces, I can push pull. If I hover over one of these lines, I can push pull that. And as I've got dynamic UCS turned on, which I'll just turn on here, if I draw some kind of a shape here, I can have it snap onto the front of this and work on various facades. So what you would normally do is go and create a very aesthetic element like this villa. If you don't have time to do these very creative versions, there is also an option here which we're very we like to show quite a lot. It's called quick draw. We've got a quick draw command and a quick wall command. So when you run quick draw, what it's going to do is sketch a basic building shell for us. And obviously it's just drawing slabs and walls according to these thicknesses. What's quite clever here is that as you draw from the inside out, it's going to trim the entities on the exterior walls. As you draw from the outside in, it will, as you draw from the inside out, again, let me just repeat that command. What I do this time is I hover close to the wall. So if I move my view over to here, you'll see when I hover next to the wall, how it turns red. So it's now going to create a cut in that wall. And if I was to do the same thing from the outside in, you'll see how it will actually recess that wall in. So you can start with a very, very basic scenario and very, very quickly add all kinds of alcoves and creative elements to it. And what you would then do is go and use our library to add various kinds of doors and windows and whatever we need. And as you place these in here, you can see that we get the options to snap or use various offsets as needed. So we can place these wherever we need. And the last thing I'll show very, very quickly is how to take a 2D drawing and turn that into a 3D environment. So here we have a file which has been named Simple Floor Plan, which is exactly what it is. It's a basic series of 2D lines represent a standard looking floor plan. When we run that quick draw command, you will see that there is an option here called auto adopt sizes. And this works in a very similar fashion with point clouds. So what will happen here is when I hover over this corner, you will see how the cursor is adopting the size of that wall for me. So when I move down to here, let me just do it again from here so it's even easier to see. You can see here it's picked the exact thicknesses of these walls, And as I go up to here, you can suddenly have the outside of your building footprint drawn in. You can move to a 3D view if you prefer. Now you can do this scenario where you now hover over the internal walls like this, and as long as you draw outside, it will trim them for you. You can quickly run through those. Or what you can do is use the quick wall tool. On the quick wall tool, what you do is draw a representative sample of each wall. So we can just put a few of these in here. I think I missed my snap here, but that's okay. Here we go. And then after you've drawn these, you can hover over them and click on, for example, L-Connect and have these walls join up. And when they join, you can cycle through the different options you wish for how the corners meet up. So you can have trimmed off or the miter. So the miter is the one that you usually want. You can see how you would quickly run through this and create the internal walls. We got libraries as well as doors. We got libraries of furnishing elements too. So you could click on the relevant type of armchairs and everything else you need. If you type in BIM insert, you can insert a bunch of different file formats, including Revit families. So What we have here are a bunch of IKEA families for elements. So if we click on, say, this table and 5 chairs, that will place that in here for me. So that's just, it means that as you do this and as you expand from a 2D environment very quickly into a 3D environment in the exact same interface, you can also bring in these Revit families. Last thing I'll show, because I want to leave some time for questions, is what I mentioned earlier with going from the inside out and the outside in. For this balcony here, for example, if I go back to my quick draw command, I can, let's do first of all drawing from the outside in. You can just draw yourself a balcony here. Sorry, let me zoom across here. You can just draw this and have that showing up as a basic set of geometry. Let's just do a few variations on that. If I was to draw that the other way around, I would actually trim my wall here. I could then put a glass facade in here, whatever I needed. And having done that, I could go and let's grab this option here and let's switch this to a view like this. And I can now go, I won't do all of this, but let me grab a few of these faces and I will click on push pull and lower those down to the wall height that I need. So you can see how you can take that basic 2D sketch and very quickly turn it into a model, which can then be exported into IFC if you need. So if you go to the export option, that can be put into IFC or used just for illustration purposes. The thing which I would like to show you on a different presentation, because it would take more time, is how we do that with a point cloud. So in this case, the point cloud has been put through a very, very similar process. And then using our sheet sets, that gives us the ability to produce these floor plans, complete with schedule.
Thanks, Ron.
You need. Okay, guys, I think we're low on time here, so I'm going to pass back to Faisal.
All right. Thank you, Sean. It's amazing. I think.
Thanks, Sean and Faisal. Can you see the questions that have come through, Faisal?
Yes. I can see some of the amazing questions. I think Sean, some of them is, I think, better for Sean to answer. But should we start from the start? Or are you gonna?
Would you like me to read through them?
Yes, please. Yep.
Sure.
That'll be.
So Ludwig has asked, can you retrieve your layout from AutoCAD? Which I think you've answered.
Yeah, I mean, you can transfer it. Most things just transfer across directly. Some things like Lisp might need a bit of massaging, but most of them come across. Layouts can mean different things. So if you're talking about the layout tabs and the plotting parameters, definitely.
There's a question saying, is there 24-hour support for the software?
Are you guys open 24 hours, Faisal?
Look, we have the Brix's website has support available, but what happens is we can offer the support within the business hours. So as soon as you need any tech support, you can just pick up a phone, call me, and we can organize the tech guys to help you.
Sure. Adam has asked, how close is Brix in usage to AutoCAD?
Look, it does the exact same things. The most frequently used command in AutoCAD and BrixCAD is the undo command. But aside from that, the basic lines, arcs, and circles, they're just geometries. And the most important thing is that I think the next question is about using your AutoCAD files in BrixCAD. We save natively to DWG. So I don't know if my screen is still sharing, but if I go File, Save As, you can see our file format here is DWG. So it's not like you have to import, it's natively using the exact same entities. And the functionality, you can do all the same things. People tend to ask that question quite a lot, and we're happy to say yes, of course we do. But things like copy guided and Blockify and the way we use point clouds, they're actually unique features to BrixCAD. So we do all of that and more.
Okay. Michelle has asked, can you explain the difference between Pro and BIM?
I'm really glad people have asked that question. I always forget to mention this. So Pro, if I go back to my drafting workspace here, Pro is basically using solid entities. It's using like your lines, arcs, and circles, or even your solid geometries. So in this case, this villa has been drawn as a series of solid shapes. That can be done in Pro. What you can do in BIM, if I go back to the BIM option, first of all, there's more automated tools for doing things like walls and and versions like that, but I can also classify these as BIM entities. So if I hover over this here, I can now click on BIM and say I want to classify that as a wall. So in terms of working with large projects and general BIM standards, that's what that's about. You will also see that in the BIM option, there's a whole bunch of tools for modeling walls. And if I go in here to my applies, if I go to, I'll be quick here. If I go to one of these walls, you'll see here that you have the option to build walls with various cavities and thicknesses across them. So it's more detailed. We're doing more than just basic geometry, effectively.
Sure. I'm going to keep pushing through the questions because we're running short on time and people might have to go. Ludovich has asked, are there any data or information losses when transitioning between AutoCAD and BricsCAD and vice versa? And are you able to collaborate with someone who uses AutoCAD and regularly exchange files with them?
Yeah, so you can definitely collaborate. And the information, so DWG is kind of like PDF, or it's an open file format. So all the geometry in a DWG can be read by any package that subscribes to it. So information travels forward and backwards seamlessly.
Sam has asked, can we see price comparisons again, or are these on your website?
I think they are, or Faisal will be happy to send you those details too. If you search online, you'll find them, but I think CADOPS has done a very good job of promoting that.
Okay. Adam has asked, how much training is required and what is the cost of training, and do you have framing plans available?
So CADOPS have got a very extensive training network. If you tend to know other CAD packages, you tend to get pretty intuitively through this. What CADOPS have is specialists who are very good at transferring customizations, because usually the basic software just works naturally. But if people have spent time customizing user interfaces and Lisp routines and .NET and everything else, those can be ported across. It just takes a little bit of expertise, and CADOPS have the expertise for that.
And Ragnar said, how about organizing pages and sheets?
Oh yeah, we do that. I'd love to show you, but I think I already showed too much in a very short time.
Jack has said, is this similar to SketchUp, and what would you say are the main differences?
It actually is slightly similar to SketchUp, because I showed you a very small part of the push-pull type options for creating solid shapes. I haven't used SketchUp in detail, so I can't comment too much, but BricsCAD is, because it's a very, very quick engine, it can behave in a SketchUp-like fashion for freeform modeling.
Jeremy has asked, can it produce realistic renders?
It can produce renders. I don't think they're photorealistic in modern standards, but it can do rendering. And more importantly, when you export to things like Twinmotion or Luminosity, it will take the different materials that you've produced and let you map those to new materials in the other packages. So that way you can preserve the workflows.
Ryan has said, can it do shadows?
I think so. I'll have to check that. I actually haven't tried that. I'll have to check it. I presume you mean shadow studies, where you want to.
That's right. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. You can probably do it, but we don't have a tailored shadow study tool. There is a whole series of applications that sit on top of BricsCAD, because it's a very established development platform. So if we don't have these things, people often tend to write them as little add-ons.
Yeah. Okay. Shirley said, how complexity it compares with Revit in terms of visibility, display, and BIM. So I'm not sure exactly what that question is.
Revit's a very popular package, so people always ask what we can do with Revit. I mean, we do a very similar thing. My very honest view of this is that if this package had been out just when Revit was coming out, it would have been a very interesting kind of a scenario. In terms of what it produces, it does all the same things. Revit's a very mature package, a very mature user base, so we wouldn't necessarily have quite that much users out there, but functionality-wise, we tend to do a very, very similar workflow. But I haven't done a comparison per se.
So, because I think, just reading another one of Shelley's questions, in Revit, you can change the visibility display in terms of the level of detail that you're showing in, walling when you're in plan view. You have that same.
Yeah, so you can. I mean, I can show you if you want here, but in this case, this is a basic wall. If I wanted to, I could show that wall as a version like this, where you have all these details coming in. So if that's what you mean, that can be done.
Yes.
Also, on the plotting side of it, in this case, I've got different levels of detail turned on this sheet here. So if I wanted to go to my properties and change that, I won't do it here. I'll just point out that I have options to change it to the different levels of detail here as well. Now, look, if you compare two packages, you will always find things that one do that the other one doesn't do. So I don't want to say we do everything that Revit does. That's a more complex beast. We certainly can do the AutoCAD functionality very, very easily. We do plenty of BIM as well, but we're not trying to say that you can jump from Revit across to this in one hit. AutoCAD's much, much easier path.
So Erica has asked what version of Revit can be imported? The latest version?
It's either the latest version or one behind. It depends on which version is being uploaded to the Open Data Alliance. So we can import Revit. On this version, we don't have the ability to export it just yet. So we can certainly import the files.
And one last question, how well does the program handle the ease of detailing working drawings?
How does it handle the ease of
detailing working drawings, which is sometimes a criticism of some of the other.
Okay. Well, look, that's probably one of the advantages because we are in the CAD environment, so you can just go and use all the CAD tools for that. Look, the Revit discussion is a complex one because there's very passionate users who've got a lot of very serious work, so we're careful in how we answer those. But the detailing side, we're quite confident with. The full documentation is a thing that we'd have to just discuss in more detail in terms of what people need.
So Sarah Jane has posted your details, Faisal, in the chat box. So I think we're going to have to wrap things up. But if there's anybody's interested in learning more about the program or pricing and packages that are available, Faisal's details are there, phone number and email address, and there's the website link as well.
Thanks, Jennifer. Obviously, and we can run a specialized demo, more detailed demo for anyone who is interested in the product.
Great.
Thanks.
Just one last question. Shane has asked, how big is the user base in Australia, which I'm interested to know as well.
Oh, look, there's a huge amount of people using it in production work of plans. It's what tends to happen, if I can be very honest, is that when people leave a company they work for and start their own company, where suddenly they're actually looking at the cost of it all for themselves, they tend to get more frugal and they tend to come to us. So it's used very, very extensively for those. It tends to be more for the conceptual work and the planning side, as opposed to the full detail side, because Revit tends to own that market for the full large buildings.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you both for joining us. I'm going to have to wrap things up because we're running over time. I'm about to sneeze. So yes, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for all members for joining us. Our next meeting will be at 1 o'clock on Tuesday, the 3rd of October. So bye for now, and we will look forward to seeing you again next month. All right, bye.